So, hello everyone, in this video I will talk about the immersion breaking issues of Spider-Man 2, right? So, first, well, I like the game a lot. I'm enjoying the game, okay? I like the gameplay. However, this is one, or rather many glaring issues constantly takes me out of the experience, right? But I still really want to emphasize here, I do like the game's gameplay, right? So let's talk about what is so immersion breaking in Spider-Man 2. So what the first game did so well is giving you the immersion of playing as Spider-Man. You're playing as Peter Parker, or Miles Morales in this case then. You're swinging around and it feels really good. It's fun to just travel in the game. And this is very important, I think, for most games to have good immersion. But especially a superhero game. And that's arguably why this is one of the best superhero games ever made, right? It's like Batman Arkham Asylum and you feel like you're Batman. However, that's why it's so unfortunate that the game constantly has to pander and break your immersion. So I'm explaining in this video, right, why this is a massive issue. It really is, and I keep saying it over and over again, but I actually really like this game. I still really like the game, but I just, for me, it's like a -1 or 2 in the game, right? Because every time this game has a checklist of pandering, I get out the immersion. It breaks my immersion. It takes me out of it because I know that someone was like, oh yeah, here I have to throw in some this thing, or this person's game now, or this thing. It's constantly doing this thing, and it takes you out of this feeling, right, of the immersion. I mean, I still think this thing here is great, but I have to say that unfortunately, right, to some extent, I am taken out of the experience because I see Mary Jane. Talking about, of course, is the constant pandering, right? And honestly, if you haven't seen the episode of South Park, which was last week, I heavily recommend it, the Pandering episode. I have two problems with Spider-Man 2, right? The first problem is a gameplay issue, which is that while the game is fun, it definitely is not Game of the Year, because, I mean, it's fun, but it's very similar to the first game. It doesn't feel very innovative or whatever, right? But again, the first game was a really great game, so it just feels like it's more of that good game, more new mini-games or whatever, right? So it's generally a good game experience. Now, the other issue, though, is of course what we see in this political climate, right? But I really want to make the video here, because I want to try to explain why it's an issue, right? And it probably sounds repetitive, whatever, people have talked about this before, but I guess I'm trying to make this video to, I guess, address the left, I suppose, right? People are for this thing, but I suppose most people that will watch the video are already probably agree with me, to be fair. Even if you are, so to speak, for this, let's call it, like better words, woke, right, or pandering, this should be an issue to you regardless, because even if you are on the side, so to speak, this should be immersion breaking. So what am I talking about then? Well, it is immersion breaking because even if I agree with the political stance the game takes, right, the game takes this stance all the time. That's a massive issue. Secondly, it doesn't even do it in a good way. It feels incredibly artificial, and just like this episode of South Park, it feels that it's constantly pandering. Like, they're literally having a checklist where they just go over, like, you know, okay, we gotta have, Black Cat has to be gay, okay? We have to have this, like, you know, person of color question. The best example of immersion breaking in this game, I would say, is when you enter the Emblem Foundation for the first time. What happens is that Harry Osborn immediately says that he fired the board because we're all white people, right? And then hired a diverse cast of people. And you feel like, oh my god, like it feels like it is a parody. Like, you literally feel like it is. I'm honestly not sure if the game is like super woke or if it's like a parody on itself, right? Comes off as being written by the author, being far left, right? And then being like, well, if I had money, I would have this science place and I would only hire black people. That's kind of what it comes off as, right? I mean, incredibly self-insert, like the dream of, if I was rich, I would do this thing, right? Like, genuinely, the experience playing Spider-Man 2 is constantly this thing, right? You're like, oh, here's Black Cat, or she's gay now. Problem is that she's lesbian per se. The problem is that it's like every story act is like something like, oh yeah, here's a trans scientist, here's a lesbian, here's this thing. It really feels like the game is a checklist where every encounter in the main story has to have some, and it just feels so incredibly shallow. Like, I think the people that should dislike it more are on the left. Why would you fall for this thing, right? It feels the most incredible copyright diversity checklist things, like this thing. And the game just constantly does this thing, right? And that's why it keeps feeling immersion breaking. For example, when you have Black Cat, it's a pretty cool interaction with her and Miles, because they're fighting these bad guys, and she's using the portal things, which is strange. And this is cool chase, there's a cool action scene and so on. So generally the gameplay is great, right? But then this is like this caveat, she's like drops, oh, I'm gay by the way, and she leaves to Paris. You're like, why did she say that for? Like, it doesn't add anything. He's just like, oh, okay, I guess, okay, whatever, right? But that happens, it takes me out of the immersion. Black Cat is probably the most simplistic example, right? Because it's just like, yeah, like it doesn't really matter that she's a lesbian or not. And I know I'm so repetitive, but I put out that it doesn't matter at all. That's why it feels so strange. Like, why even add them? So there is this saying in Swedish, många bäckar små, that my grandpa always would say. So my grandpa loved this this Swedish saying. And what it means then, många bäckar, a bäck is like a lake, or rather like a pond, right? So it basically means that if you have enough lakes, right, or enough water, literally, you have an ocean, right? So my grandpa, he loved the stock market. He was an index guy. He basically was like in compound interest was his favorite thing, right? So he was like, well, if you invest $10 a week on index funds, eventually you have $1 million, right? That was kind of like his mindset, right? Or like if you have a lot of sand, you eventually get a Sandman. So I picked a Sandman fight here. But that's what I feel about playing this game, right? I genuinely do feel that it ruins part of the video game, because think about it, right? You have this constant, every cutscene basically, every story bit, right? And especially with Mary Jane Cosme, I constantly get reminded about, oh my god, this is like everything in the game. It's a great gameplay, but it has like a coating, unnatural, artificially, forced way. I'm just like, okay, yeah, okay, whatever, right? So I hope you guys subscribe, press that like button. I think and ponder about this is a lot, actually. The whole week playing this game, I was thinking about the issue, right? How it is breaking my immersion. And end of the day, Mary Jane is the biggest issue of the game, right? Because literally every time she appears, I know that she's been ugly. She's been uglified, right? Because of some weird, like, Vogue pandering. And that's basically it, right? And honestly, I just don't understand how anyone can defend this thing, because even if you are on the left, so to speak, I keep saying this thing, if you're for left or whatever, like, why are you for this thing? Mary Jane is a strong, independent woman. There's a good side quest when she helps corners and so on. Too much storyline, but a good example of it. And she can fight and so on, right? So her writing, there's nothing wrong with her writing, really. But it's just like, what's the point of making her like twice as ugly as the last game, right? I want to say this thing to be fair. I don't think she's actually really ugly. I don't think she looks ugly per se. But like I said, I've been pondering this for a week now, and the issue with Mary, and why it's so incredibly obvious, is of course because you went from the first game to the second game, right? Because now, how they changed her appearance so much from the first second game, it really feels annoying, right? Because you're like, my god, but I can compare her to the previous game. It doesn't make any sense, because of course, when you are developing a new game, right, built on a previous game, where you have the models, you have the assets files, and you're going from PS4 to PS5 and so on, a new console generation, everything should look better, right? It shouldn't look way, way worse. And obviously, it's very reminiscent of Serious now with Alloy suddenly becoming twice as fast or something during the first games. But Mary Jane honestly looks weirder because her body shape, so to speak, is fine, right? It's just her face. Like, her face is suddenly twice as big. And honestly, the first time I saw it, I thought it was a joke. I thought someone made a joke, right? I saw it on Twitter. I thought, oh, it's a funny joke. Because it looks like someone has taken a 3D model, developer things, right? Go into the model and then stretch her face to be twice as big for no reason. Because she just feels out of proportion. But I think that the biggest issue with Mary Jane is that because we had, like I said, right, we had the previous game, and you compare them, image by image, and she looks like a new person. Doesn't look the same person from the first game. And you know, I just don't get it. Honestly, I don't get it. Regardless, of, like, why do you want that? Right? You want to have strong, independent female characters? That's great. I always say that my favorite character is the strong, independent female character, right? Like one of my favorite characters is Melona, you know, in Black Clover. So I like this, you know, women with big muscles or whatever, right? But what's the point of making them ugly? And in Mary Jane's case, it's so obvious. And what happens then when you play the game, of course, is that every time Mary Jane calls you, because it calls you frequently playing the game, right? So her face appears in the game, and I have to say, honestly, every time I'm like, oh, pandering, you know, it comes back to my head, right? So I'm web slinging there, I'm enjoying the game, and then she calls me, she's like, hey Pete, and I'm like, oh, why did they make her so ugly for, right? And I keep saying the thing, it doesn't ruin the game, but it takes you out of the immersion. Every time you see her, your brain remembers that, oh yeah, this game is like super radically woke or something, great. That's basically the experience every time she appears at. Otherwise, I enjoy her writing, her dialogue is good, and generally speaking, her, like I said, her body, clothing, whatever, it all works fine, right? But why is the face so incredibly weird? It's out of proportion, and it bothers me like a development step or two, right? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it doesn't, like, just like Stan Smith's face from American Dad is how Spider-Man 2 feels, right? They have the checklist, they go over it, and I find it probably more so a problem, right, if you actually believe in this thing, because you should feel like, well, can't you do it better, right? Can you do it better than that? And I mean, honestly, it isn't just about rewriting or adding new characters or whatnot, but it's like I said, it is also even like add anything. Like 9 out of 10 times in this game, it just panders to you for no reason. Like the Black Cat thing I mentioned earlier. It's just like, oh, she's gay now. How does it add? Does it matter for the storyline? No, it doesn't. So why even mention it, right? It could be better written. We could have met her girlfriend or something. Could have added that. I haven't beaten the game, I suppose, but maybe she comes later. But I'm just hoping at a point. I'm like, well, if it's gonna be a point that Felicia now is a lesbian, which I'm fine with. I don't care about it that much, right? But then I actually wanted to matter more in the storyline. Then I want to see her girlfriend, or maybe she can date one of the, you know, female villains or whatever, right? And I want to see something that has an effect on the storyline. But by just throwing it out there, oh, I'm gay, by the way, let's keep going the story. Then to me, that's the uttermost pandering, right? Where she's just like, oh, yeah, okay, and then it doesn't matter. It has no effect on the storyline. It's just there to be included in the checklist, right? Really? Like, really? Because at least when I play that quest, and I genuinely mean it, when I play that quest, right, I assumed, because she had such a strange portal magic, that we were gonna see her girlfriend, right, in the portal, like Emma Frost over there. It could be, you know, another female character from X-Men or whatever in this case, but like from the Marvel universe. I mean, that would be a nice touch. But now I feel like the lazy way to do it. It's just like, oh, she mentioned it, doesn't have any impact, and I don't know. But every time I hear a character in Marvel mentioning a relationship, I assume it's gonna be a character we know from the movies or games or whatever, you know what I mean? But no, there is like pandering. It's like, no, I'm gay now, let's move on. But anyway, guys, like the video, please share the video, subscribe, not have a great day.